Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. All right, let's go ahead and get started. The Colorado Supreme Court recently ruled that Donald Trump is not eligible to run for president in 2024 because of the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol. And their decision was based on the 14th Amendment, Section 3, that says that a president or a vice president cannot engage in insurrection or rebellion against the U.S. government. If they do, Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of each house, remove the person. So, in a 4-3 ruling that will soon be appealed, I'm sure, a majority of Colorado's 7 justices wrote that the former president engaged in insurrection. President Trump's direct and express efforts over several months, exhorting his supporters to march to the Capitol to prevent what he falsely characterized as an alleged fraud on the people of this country, were indisputably overt and voluntary, the justices wrote. Moreover, they wrote, the evidence amply showed that President Trump undertook all these actions to aid and further a common unlawful purpose that he himself conceived and set in motion: prevent Congress from certifying the 2020 presidential election and stop the peaceful transfer of power. The ruling also states, we conclude that because President Trump is disqualified from holding the office of president under Section 3, it would be a wrongful act under the Election Code for the Secretary to list President Trump as a candidate on the presidential primary ballot. The justices stayed their ruling until January 4th, pending appeal. So basically, what this means is that Colorado is not allowing President Trump to be on their ballot, so no one will be able to vote for him in the state of Colorado. Now, the lower court judge in Colorado, Sarah B. Wallace, had a ruling in November, and she said that while Trump was eligible to run in the 2024 race under the 14th Amendment, she found that he did engage in the January 6th insurrection because he incited it. The attorney leading another set of disqualification challenges against Trump previously told ABC News that there was a very good chance a top court in Minnesota, Colorado, or Michigan would rule on the issue before the end of the year, and basically they may act in the same way as Colorado. Now, an ABC News Washington Post poll in September found mixed views on whether Trump should be allowed to run in 2024. 44% of Americans said Trump should be barred from the presidency under the 14th Amendment, but 50% said he should not be barred, and 60% had no opinion. What does this mean for Trump in the upcoming election? Well, the U.S. has 538 electoral votes, and a president-vice president duo, they need at least 270 votes to win. Colorado offers 10 electoral votes. So Colorado has primarily been a Democratic state since 2008. So with Trump being a Republican candidate, it's likely that he would not have won that state anyway. Maine Secretary of State Shenna Bellows intends to announce her decision between the Christmas and New Year's holiday as to whether former President Donald Trump is eligible for or disqualified from placement on Maine's presidential primary ballot next year. Other states may follow suit. Now, Maine has 4 electoral votes, and although Trump won 1 electoral vote from Maine each time that he was on the ballot, Maine has mostly supported Democrats as well. I think personally that most people have heard African Americans are turning away from Joe Biden and starting to either avoid voting in this next election or they're starting to support Trump. Well, NBC News polls have found that African Americans are no longer supporting Biden in the way they did for the previous election. The latest survey finds 61% of Black voters approve of Biden versus 34% who say they disapprove of Biden. I was concerned about President Biden. What has he done for Black people who were a big reason for him winning? One Black voter from Ohio said. You hear that noise coming from the other side and you think it's the same old, same old. People begging for our votes, but not doing anything for us until after they get it. No, not doing anything for us even after they get it. So this Black voter from Ohio told NBC News, Curtis Bunn. Very interesting. Still, some experts told Bunn voters expressing discontent for Biden aren't necessarily going to vote for President Trump if he's the GOP nominee next year. The latest NBC News polls find 69% of black voters backing Biden and 20% backing Trump. Instead, some black leaders are worried that voters in their communities won't vote at all. Well, if you have 69% of the black voters backing Biden and 20% backing Trump, that is only 89%. The missing 11% may very well be the ones who refuse to vote. What black people are saying through the poll is that they are frustrated with both sides and that they're exploring their options, which could be not showing up at all. That's my concern. How does this frustration translate into the level of engagement of the black electorate black electorate in 2024? A political consultant told Bunn. So I'm pretty sure that Biden is aware that his African American support is decreasing. Now, at the last minute, we see him trying to make a difference. This is a statement that Biden issued on December 22nd, 2023. He said, "First, I'm commuting the sentences of 11 people who are serving disproportionately long sentences for nonviolent drug offenses. All of them would have been eligible to receive significantly lower sentences if they were charged with the same offense today. Second, following my pardon of prior federal and DC offenses of simple possession of marijuana, I'm issuing a proclamation that will pardon additional offenses of simple possession and use of marijuana under federal and DC law. Criminal records for marijuana use and possession have imposed needless barriers to employment, housing, and educational opportunities. Too many lives have been upended because of our failed approach to marijuana. It's time that we right these wrongs. Just as no one should be in a federal prison solely due to the use or possession of marijuana, no one should be in a local jail or state prison for that reason either. That's why I continue to urge governors to do the same with regards to state offenses and applaud those who have since taken action. I have exercised my clemency power more than any recent predecessor has at this point in their presidency. And while today's announcement marks important progress, my administration will continue to review clemency petitions and deliver reforms that advance equal justice, address racial disparities, strengthen public safety, and enhance the well being of all Americans." Now, the reason why Joe Biden did this supposedly has nothing to do with gaining black voters. According to him, this is why. He said America was founded on the principle of equal justice under law. Elected officials on both sides of the aisle, faith leaders, civil rights advocates, and law enforcement leaders agree that our criminal justice system can and should reflect this core value that makes our communities safer and stronger. That is why today I'm announcing additional steps I'm taking to make the promise of equal justice a reality. Now that's interesting because I actually had no idea that America was founded on the principle of equal justice under the law. Now, that is new to me. Anyway, I personally will not be voting in the upcoming election because I don't trust either of these candidates. I think they're the lesser of two evils. Voting for one of them is voting for the lesser of two evils. I did not vote in the last presidential election, and I won't vote in this one either. People have told me that my ancestors fought for my right to vote, and I agree. But when you have two evil people running, I don't want to use my energy, my gas money to drive to the voting spot, and my time waiting in line to vote for two men that have made it clear that they don't support people who look like me. So they will not get my support. I personally think that African Americans should demand more from these candidates than just a handshake every 4 years. We vote blindly and they offer us nothing but lies. Now, it does appear to me that the Democrats are doing everything in their power to keep Trump from successfully running for president in 2024. He has 4 indictments against him, one in Georgia for election interference in the 2020 election, one in New York for a hush money scheme, and 2 that are federal. The insurrection happened in 2021, which was 3 years ago, roughly. So why is Colorado just now barring him from being on the ballot in their state? This was nearly 3 years ago. Because of Trump's arrest, he's using that as a way to try and link himself to black voters under the guise that black people are also treated unfairly under the criminal justice system. Trump has promoted videos of Black people defending him, and senior Trump advisors have kept in touch with Black celebrities who have supported him publicly. Now, Donald Trump Jr. told Newsmax, "I just think, especially, again with the Black men, they're going to see through the charges against Trump because they've been dealing with this for a long time." In the 2020 election, Trump also got support from several Black rappers, including Ice Cube, Lil Wayne, and Kanye West. Don't be surprised if the sellout celebrities start coming out and try to convince you to accept one of these candidates. Like the Janet Jackson song says, "What have you done for me lately?" Why all of a sudden is Biden issuing proclamations to accommodate Black people? Could it be that this is election season and he's sniffing around for votes? How is Trump going to jail for citing a whole insurrection compare to Black people being treated unfairly in the judicial system? Does something have to happen to you before you are able to have a little bit of sympathy for someone else who is different and who has been trying to bring awareness about this issue for centuries? Black people, we need to start making demands of these presidential candidates and other politicians before we blindly give them our vote or even our time. All right, so I'm wrapping things up, but I find it ironic that these two candidates are trying to appeal to Black people all of a sudden. Trump's son mentioned that his father can relate to the unfair convictions of Black people now that he has been in the judicial system and treated unfairly. Well, if Trump becomes president, is he going to try and make changes to help balance out this judicial system? Trying to relate to people is one thing, and then trying to help them is another. And the way I've seen it, Biden acting around little kids, always trying to kiss them and hug on them in a creepy way, it's just creepy. These are not his kids. He always wants them around. He wants to hold them and grab them and touch them. It's weird. So, again, voting for the two of them, in my opinion, is voting for the lesser of two evils. But anyway, thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe for more content. Until next time, shalom.